Oh, welcome into the Press Row Show, the number one rated pregame, intermission, postgame show this side of the Mississippi, south of the Arctic Circle, north of the equator. And it is the third home game this week, where we have been welcomed into your homes, into your cars, into your classrooms, hopefully not into your bathrooms. If you're sitting on the toilet right now watching the show, thanks. But maybe hit pause. It feels a little bit weird to be there. Can you at least go back to the kitchen first? But welcome into the Press Row Show. Anthony's here. Adam Kimmelman, the great Adam Kimmelman, is here for the first time this season. Adam, how are you?
I'm good. Good to be back with you guys.
Anthony.
So you asked people to go back to their kitchen.
Yes.
Can you go back to your closet?
Well, he said people at least.
I mean, no. But have you seen what he's wearing, Adam?
He has a beef with me right
He's
now.
wearing a hoodie and a blazer.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you're shaking your head, and I think that's what I would do, too.
What, wear a hoodie and a blazer?
No, shake my head at the notion that he's wearing
right.
a hoodie and a blazer.
Well, we're in video, so you can do that now. People will know you're shaking your head in dismay at him.
I'm actually going to put a poll up over on the Snow the Goalie
Please
channel.
do. Please do.
I will tell you, I walked over, Russ Cohen and Anthony Minchione are talking. Anthony Minchione, first thing he says, a blazer with the hoodie. He appreciated it. Good Italian man over there.
Can I make one point, though?
Yeah.
If you're taking fashion advice from sports writers,
I'm not.
You need to do other things with your life. Just a general, broad statement.
Is a hoodie with a sport jacket
Chris
acceptable?
Chris Fried said it's Delco style.
All right, there we go. Poll is up over on the Snow the Goalie YouTube channel.
Oh,
You can vote.
Man. Yeah, let's vote. Please vote for that, people. Let him know how ridiculous he looks. Anyway, Flyers wild tonight. They're going to need to play a heck of a lot better, Adam, than they played the other night against Winnipeg.
Well, I will say this. Some of what might have looked like subpar play also kind of, let's couch it in the fact that you're playing against the President's Trophy winning team from last year that brings back almost every one of their core pieces and had the Vezina and Hart Trophy winning goalie in net. So you kind of, I think you have to judge them grade them a little bit on a curve from the other game. No, did they play stellar? No, but I think before we just kind of bury them, I think you got to take into consideration the team that they're playing on the other side is a really, really good team that is built to play deep into the springtime.
And I'm with you on that. And I don't want to bury them because I felt like the first three games I thought they played pretty darn well, right? Sure. I mean, I'll take 1-1-1 against Florida twice in Carolina. I think that's a really good start. I just felt like it. I felt like there could have been more.
Well,
I mean, when you go almost the entire third period without a shot on net, and none of them coming at even strength. I mean, technically the last two were even strength, but they had pulled the goal.
Right.
So you had a 6-on-5. But prior to that, no shots on goal. I mean, that's where I think that there's. I don't care how good the other team is. You got to be able to generate something.
Well, for sure. But again, I do think the other team does come into the equation, and I think some of it is you are hoping for some of the good vibes from the Panthers game, the home opener kind of carried over, and they clearly did not. But look, this is kind of what I think this team's going to be this season. They're going to be ups and downs. They're going to be in that sort of murky middle of the rest of the bottom half of the Eastern Conference, where they're going to be good enough to be near those last two wildcard spots. Will they be the team that's kind of able to emerge from that pack of 6 or 7 teams? I don't know. We've got a lot of time to find out. But I think to your point, though, the fact that, 1-2-1 against, two teams one team that went to the Stanley Cup final, another went to the Eastern Conference final, and one was a President's Trophy winner. I mean, would you have liked a little bit better? Sure, but again, I don't think they were – it's not like they lost, 6-0 in any of those games. A little more competitive would have been nice for sure, especially against Winnipeg. But I think you do have to take the opposition to a little bit into consideration.
Okay, fair. So now they're going to get a Minnesota Wild team that has been up and down to start the season. They come off of a loss last night, right? Mm-hmm. Getting the backup goalie in net for Minnesota. This is a team that you should be able to, take advantage of in the situation that you have tonight.
You can score against them. They have given up, I believe, 23 goals in their 4 or 5 games. So they are not the most stout defensive team in the league. But when you roll out a top line with two of the top scorers in the league in Kirill Kaprizov and Matthew Boldy. Marco Rossi, who I've always been a huge fan of, going back to his days before he got drafted when he was playing overseas in Sweden. They're another very good team, and they're angry, and there's going to be some extra motivation to kind of have a better performance to wash what happened last night out of their minds. So, yes, you are catching a tired team with travel, but, it maybe evens the playing field a little bit for the Flyers. We'll see how if they're able to kind of generate more of what the good they did in the home opener versus, as you said, the lack of production, certainly in the third period, especially against Winnipeg.
I'm waiting for Russ because I know where he's going to go with the conversation at some point.
I'm not going where you think I'm going. I'm monitoring the poll right now. 52% say no, it's not acceptable. We're up to 50-50. And now we're back to 52-48.
Okay. I forgot. Russ cares about himself and his how he looks to the public more so it is talking about hockey.
You know what? I should have framed it around myself. Can I pull this off? Because if you did a hoodie and a sport jacket,
no shot.
Yeah.
I would never even try.
Yeah.
I would never even try. So,
Adam, here's the thing that we have been talking about for a good chunk of the week because it has been the discourse online. And I, like a stupid idiot, didn't put all of it together. Like, it's been a conversation all week, but then this afternoon is when I realized, they're supposed to play head-to-head. The decision to take Jet Lutsenko over Zeev Buium, you have a guy in Lutsenko who isn't ready for this level yet. Ideally, they'd be able to send him to the A. They really don't want to send him back to Guelph. They're going to try to manage these 9 games, it seems. And he's been in the lineup the last few games. He's out of the lineup tonight. And people have had the conversation about, was it a mistake to take Lutsenko over Zeev Buium? Lutsenko, of course, just turned 19 in August. Buium is 19 now. He turns 20 in December. They're relatively close, about a year or so apart. Buium is already producing points, albeit mostly on the power play. He is a -7 on the season. I believe 3 of those came on empty net. Okay. Do you think that in the grand scheme of things, it matters that the Flyers aren't playing Lutsenko in this first head-to-head matchup?
No, not at all. I think you're worried about your own guy and how he's doing and what he's supposed to be doing. And if you just want to look at Jet Lutsenko, it feels like a bit of a broken record with what he needs to do. I remember talking to his coach in Guelph before he even got drafted, and the word was, we need to get him to shoot the puck more. You go back and you talk to John Tortorella. What was the big thing he said about Jet Lutsenko? We need him to shoot the puck more. Riley Armstrong, the director of player development, we need to get him to shoot the puck more. And what has Rick Tocchet said? We need him to shoot the puck more. Because when Jet Lutsenko shoots the puck, he becomes a much more dangerous player because he does have a very nice shot. It's an accurate shot, but he is so hardwired to be a playmaker and to make that extra pass. He needs to almost, I think deprogram might be a little bit too harsh of a word, but he needs to change his mindset where the comparison I made is it's a different sport, but he's Ben Simmons at this point, right? Where
I said this the other day, kind of jokingly, but yeah.
He just, if anybody watched basketball when Ben Simmons played for the Sixers, he never shot the ball. And then, it really manifested itself in the playoffs that last year here for him. But I think he made himself a lesser player with amazing talent. I think Jet Lutsenko has all the talent in the world to be a top-flight player in the NHL. But you cannot just be a pass-first guy. You need to round out your game. And he's got everything you want: the speed, the hockey IQ, the defensive ability.
The physical ability seems to be there. The strength is there. They raved about it a year ago.
Right. He has what you need to play in the NHL, and the shot is there. He just needs to get into a habit of using it. And I don't know how you sort of, I watched Major League the other night. Willie Mays Hayes in spring training. The manager says, every time you hit the ball in the air, I'm going to make you do 15 push-ups. I mean, I don't know if you have to go to that drastic with Jet Lutsenko, but you need to say to him, I want to see 3 shot attempts a night. 3 shot attempts a night. I think what you then do is you diversify him as an offensive player, and you turn him into being a good player into being a threat. And when he becomes a threat, then you will see all the talent that made the Flyers say he's our guy in the first round of the draft a couple of years ago.
There was a time way back when that Brett Brown, I think it might have been the season where the meltdown happened against Atlanta in the playoffs, the passing from underneath the basket out to Tobias Harris. that was the season, I think, where Brett Brown actually did say he was going to install a plan where it was like minimum shot attempts per game, minimum 3-point attempts per week. Obviously, it didn't work. I guess my concern, and you watch a lot of the younger guys far more than I do. You evaluate these guys a whole lot more than I do. I can't think of a guy who reached the top flight, who reached that upper echelon, that didn't have a willingness to shoot even in junior. Like, to me, it's like if he's going to go back to Guelph, and we were talking about this the other night, cool, but send him down there and say, like, listen, dude, you got to shoot the hell out of the puck. I don't care about anything else that you do. You communicate it to Guelph's coaching staff, and you don't have the right to tell them what you want him to do. But there's kind of an implicit understanding. Like, look, the kid needs to work on his shot. That, to me, is the only way that he can really develop if you're going to send him down. Otherwise, I guess you maybe consider trying to elongate this stay up here at the NHL level with these 9 games and try to just have him work with his coaching staff, work with his teammates. But he needs, like, live reps, and the shots have to come in live reps. Can you think of a guy that, like, has been this reticent to shoot the puck at such a young age and then has ultimately flipped it and ended up becoming a scorer?
No, there's nobody I can think of really at any age where they've had that hesitation to pull the trigger. I mean, I think more often it goes the other way, where maybe they shoot it a little too much and you want them to be a little bit more of a distributor. I think it's very rare to see it go the way that it's going with Luchenko. But to your point, I don't think you'd have to say much to people in Guelph about getting him to shoot more. It's, as I said, the coaching staff there is the same one that was there before he got drafted. And they've been harping on it with him as well, going back to his age 17 season. So, whatever has to be done to get through to him, we need you to shoot the puck more. It has to get done, because if he doesn't, you're going to leave money on the table, and he's not going to maximize the enormous amount of offensive talent that he has.
Everything you both have said is fantastically correct.
Yes.
Hey.
Everything, right? High fives over my head. There you go. And we won't know for at least 3 years whether or not this was the right call, or they should have taken Bouillon, whatever. We won't know for 3 years. But what I get perturbed by, and what bothers me, is everybody making out tonight's game should have been Jet versus Zeev. And, why isn't he playing versus Zeev? And if Zeev Bouillon has a big game, the Flyers are going to look awful. None of that is true. Absolutely none of it is true. That is fan fiction, is what that is.
Fan fiction.
Fan fiction is
Welcome
what that
to
is.
Fan Fiction with Anthony SanFilippo.
3 years from now, I may agree with every one of you and say, it was a bad pick. And 3 years from now, we might be roasting Russ and say,
possible.
see, Russ, you were wrong.
Yep.
Luchenko was the right pick. We don't know.
It's entirely possible.
We don't know. These kids are 19, 20 years old.
And I would love to be wrong. In fairness, I would love to be wrong, because I have been dead on, balls accurate about Cole Caulfield and Cam York to this point in their careers.
But again,
that is one that on draft night, and at the time said that to me.
But you got to remember again, and I'll repeat it a third time, fourth time, fifth time for you. The reason that they did that is they had a high second round pick that year and said, we feel like there's other forwards who can score in this league, who we could get in the second round of this draft. We don't feel like the defenseman is there. So they went with York first and Bobby Brink second. And they felt at the time that the two of them combined would be better than just one Cole Caulfield. That was their thought process. Whether that's the case or not, that's up for debate. But that was at least the thought process behind it.
On a positive note, Bobby Brink's a good player.
And he might get better and better.
It seems like he has a path to.
Right, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Adam, I would say that Brink right now is better than expected.
For sure. I mean, a smaller player, you get him in the second round. You're not sure what he's going to give you as far as from a physical standpoint. Will he hold up over 82 games? And similar to discussions that were held about Cole Caulfield. Yeah. But he has become a key element on the Flyers' best line for more than a calendar year now. So, that line, a lot of the attention goes to Cates and a lot of the attention goes to Forrester, but Bobby Brink has equal leverage on that line as far as what that group is trying to do. And you see him as he's gotten bigger and physically more developed and a little stronger, he's gotten more confident in his game. He's able to take the puck to the places he needs to go to be productive.
And there are people commenting saying, look at our draft history with the Flyers. It's not good. It's laughable. It's ridiculous. And yet there are 12 guys in this lineup who were Flyers draft picks. That's a good number.
How many?
It is.
12. 12 players in the lineup tonight are Philadelphia Flyers draft picks.
Which is a high number. Like,
yeah,
if you were going
it's
to try
a
to
good
compete
number.
for a cup,
It doesn't mean that they're superstars. I mean, yes, obviously you haven't developed that superstar yet. You're hoping Mishkov is that. You got Martone coming, who could well be that, right? But to sit there and say that the Flyers have not drafted well is, I think, a little bit hyperbolic. I think that there are NHL players that they are drafting. Now, they may not be your superstar level players, but they're certainly drafting NHL quality players, and you need those players if you're going to ultimately be successful.
I think that's the concern, though. And, like, so if you go onto Russ Joy Island, where I was for a while, about, like, you have to get better through the draft, because ultimately I think, especially given how things have worked out with the non-existent 2026 free agent class, if we're being fair, you kind of have to draft your elite talent. There aren't a lot of top-level cup-winning players, like the missing piece, that are going to teams in free agency. It might happen through a trade. Like, Jack Eichel trade worked out pretty damn well for Vegas.
Yeah.
The Reinhart move worked out really well for Florida. So it doesn't mean that can't happen. But trades are very different to me than free agency. So I think, like, while you're correct that they do have a lot of homegrown guys, drafted guys to this team, you want to see them ultimately end up with at least one or two that are in that elite echelon.
And they may have them, and Mishkov and Martone. They may have them, right? So you got to give them time. Look, it's there's no doubt that the previous regimes didn't do well. And when Bob Clark said it on the Cam and Strick podcast a few years ago, that Ron Hextall set the team back 10 years, he wasn't lying. Right?
I think there's a bit of hyperbole there. Well, but no, when you have the number 2 pick and you look at what number 1, number 3, number 4, and number 5 in that draft have accomplished, it looks, monumentally worse. But
that wasn't the only bad pick.
No. Oh, no.
I mean, Herman Ruptsov was
correct. That was
in
not
that mix, too.
Yeah, that was not a good selection. And look, I think So here's what I always say with drafting, and this is something that I kind of have harped on with people I talk to. You can draft the right players. There's nothing that says the Flyers drafted the quote-unquote wrong players. Look at the development of those players. It's a two-pronged assault. You can draft the best players out there. If you don't develop them afterwards with your development guys, that's why Riley Armstrong has such a pivotal role with this organization now. And look, I'm not going to, we all like Shel Samuelson and the job that he did, though, but you would see guys kind of get to a certain point and they wouldn't take that extra step. And I think some of that, it's all going to wash down onto the general manager and the scouting director who made those decisions, because ultimately they're the ones who brought those players into the organization. But some of that blame does have to fall on the development group. Yep. And I think that's why you've seen so much emphasis put into bringing in Riley and retaining him, and bringing in Nick Schultz and making him, giving him the prominent role that he had before he went behind the bench in Lehigh, and Chris Stewart and Patrick Sharp and John LeClaire. And they brought in all these guys to really build out that development group to help these guys grow and progress. I think that's something, to me, you say whatever you want about the players they picked, but you have to wonder how much of were they put in position to succeed after they were drafted. Now, some of these guys are still not going to work out because, look, you have 7 picks. If you come out with 1 NHL player, if you come out with 2 NHL players, you've done spectacularly. You come out with 1, you've done pretty well. That's just the law of averages, how things work in the NHL. But if you can just keep that number at a consistent level, you're going to do very well for yourself. And I think they've done that now, again, as we've seen. Like, look, we don't know what Oliver Bonk's going to be, right? He has to get healthy and he has to play. But we think he's going to be a really good defenseman. We think Denver Barkey's got a chance to be a nice player. I think Jack Berglund, they took a couple years ago in the second round, I think he has a chance to be a very nice player. There are other guys progressing. Igor Zavragin, the goalie playing over in Russia. Yep. There's a chance he's going to be a really nice player for them. So you just need to give these guys a chance to develop, before we just completely say, well, they're not players. And go bring it back to Jet Luchenko. Let's give him a chance to develop. He was the youngest player, I believe, in his draft class. He's 19, barely. Yeah. So let's not just write him off now after, 9 total NHL games the past 2 seasons? I saw him at the World Juniors. On a Canada team that was not very good, he was one of their best players. So when you log about guys in their age group and being able to stand out, he stood out on a team that is very difficult to stand out on. So once he gets it into the right mindset to shoot the puck, he'll be able to maximize those talents, and you will see why. And look, if the Flyers hadn't taken him in that spot, he was not going to be on the board a whole lot longer. It's not like they reached and took a guy who everybody had graded in the 5th round. He was a top 20 selection. I remember in my mock draft, I believe I had him at number 20. So it wasn't like they reached to grab a guy who nobody knew who he was. This is a very talented player. He just needs to kind of get in the right mindset, be developed, and he'll get to where he has to get to.
One other thing I want to bring up here, Adam, and I want you to I want to walk through it with you. Who's Steve Buium's agent?
I know where you're going with this, but go ahead.
I've already heard something counter to this, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
Who's his agent?
I don't know the fellow's name, but I know it's the same agent Cutter Gauthier
Okay,
has.
so it's Cutter Gautier's agent, right? How much did that play into a decision by the Flyers to not take him?
So I had those same questions coming out of that draft, and when I asked someone who is part of that decision-making process, they said some, but not much. When they assessed Steve Buium, they looked at the size and the projection. They said they looked at Cam York, they looked at Jamie Drysdale. They said, well, we've got that same kind of player already. Why don't we take the center, which we desperately need? And that's why they made the decision they made to take Jet Luchenko. So,
and technically,
again,
they have a third defenseman like that in Emil Andre.
Right, and again,
right? So he would have been the 4th.
Right, so
although he might have been the most talented out of all of them, we'll find out over the next few years.
You can agree or disagree with that, but that's their mindset. They looked at Zeke. Now, I will say this: when I was doing my mock draft, I had Steve Buium as the second defenseman off the board. I had him going at number 6. The fact that he was still there at number 12 was really surprising because I thought after Levchinov, I thought he was the second best defenseman available in that draft. So, again.
So I mean, look, you talk to teams. Like, what do you get the sense as to why he fell?
I think they saw the ceiling. They saw the ceiling wasn't as high as some of these other guys. They saw an NHL-ready plug-and-play guy who probably could have played in the NHL full-time last season. He was that mature, physically, hockey IQ, had the game where he could have been a contributing player, probably similar to what he's doing now, a third-pair guy, where he could have done it last season. But when they looked at the Yakimchuks and the Dickinsons and the rest of the defensemen in that group, they saw higher ceilings if they got to where their talent says they should get to. So I think that was a common theme where the floor on Buium was higher, but the ceiling wasn't as high as some of the other guys. So again, right, wrong, or indifferent, that's sort of the common groupthink when it came to Steve Buium. Now, again, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but that's, these guys do this for a living, so they know more than I certainly do. But when I watched Steve, I saw a guy who had the look of being a number one defenseman, power play quarterback, a guy who could play in the league for a really long time. And we'll see if he gets there. But that doesn't mean that because he's gonna be maybe that Jet Luchenko won't be ever after 9 games. You cannot, or 10 games, however many it is. You cannot make that determination yet. I think there's a lot more that we're going to see from Jet Luchenko.
Really quick on the agent point. I did a little bit of digging around this, believe it or not, about...
It's Kurt Overhart, by the way, in case anybody was wondering.
It was about 6 or 7 months ago. I did a little bit of digging around. Talked to somebody who isn't in, the inner circle of Steve Buium, but it's somebody who, knows the kid, knows the character, and said regardless of agent, if he had been drafted by the Flyers or any other team, he would have upheld his end of the bargain. He would have ultimately reported. It would not have been Cutter 2.0. That's one person. That's one person's opinion. And that's not directly from the player, right? I didn't sit down with Steve Buium and say, hey, man, if the Flyers had drafted you, would you have showed up here? But it's interesting. It feels like that's going to be one of those, and again, over the next however many years, I think the questions around the agent, the questions around whether or not that swayed the decision or not, is going to kind of be akin to, did the Flyers guarantee Cutter Gauthier a spot on the roster when the GM switched? Is that what ultimately did it? I think it's going to be like one of those similar things where you go, well, that might not have anything to do with the reason that the guy isn't here. But it'll be one of those things that's going to stick in a fan's mind, at least until they hopefully see the player that they ended up with being at or above the level of the player that isn't here.
So to me, the rule I always say is ask me in 5 years if they made the right choice. So we're not anywhere near that point yet with any of these guys, including Cutter Gauthier. We're not there yet. So ask me in 5 years if they made the right choice, if they made the right pick, and I'll be able to give you a better answer. Anybody who says they know now is lying to you or just completely jumping the rails.
A prisoner of the moment?
Yes. Yeah, it's a nice way of saying it.
It would take one to know one.
Well,
a prisoner of the moment.
I'm just being honest. You know?
That sounds like the name of your high school band.
Prisoner of the moment.
All right, so if we're getting close to wrapping this up, Adam. That was a great conversation. That's why we love having you on for your insight especially into the young players and the draft towards the end of the year. But let's get back to this game tonight. How do you see it? Like, what do you think if you had to make a pick on the game tonight? What do you think?
Well, I think the Flyers need to come out harder than they have certainly the last two games in the first period. You can't just slide into games. You can't ease into games, and they can't be a one-line team. You can't just rely on the Cates line to kind of drag you into the fight. You need more from the Therien line. You certainly need more from Konechny and Michkov. And we watched it at the morning skate, and for a couple of shifts, he split up the Cates line. He had Brink up with Couturier and Konechny, and he had Michkov down with Cates and Forrester, or up, down, say whatever you want with who's the number one line. But, Talk made a joke. He says, it's just a smokescreen. I hope Minnesota watched, but we're not doing that. But I think at a certain point, maybe you do have to consider if that line's going to drive and the other guys aren't, maybe you do have to split them up. But they need to get somebody other than the Cates line going.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. And you know what? The thing about splitting them up, if in fact he does do it, that line works.
Right.
You know that if you try something different and it doesn't work, you can always go back to that. And it's something you can fall back on.
Sure.
So maybe you're just trying to mix it up just to get the team going, and then you could go back to it again.
Let's just say if they get down tonight, it would not surprise me if that's sort of the direction he goes. Maybe he did overplay his hand a little bit this morning, and it wasn't the quote-unquote smoke screen that Talk liked to make a joke about. And look, Michkov with Forrester and Cates, it's not a bad idea, because I think what the advantage you have with Cates and Couturier is the same one you had with Couturier versus playing him with Zegras, is you need a center who can think the game sort of along with Michkov, who's not going to get out ahead of him, because Michkov's game is not built on speed. Even when he's 100%, whatever with the ankle injury is, he's maybe has him a half a step off. You need a guy who can kind of keep pace with him at his pace, and I think both those guys do that.
Sounds good. This is why Adam Kimmelman is our best guest that we have on this program
today.
Wow, that was a definitive.
Today. Yes, today. Read him at NHL.com. Adam Kimmelman, one of the best. Thank you, my friend.
Anytime, guys.
Stick taps for Kimmelman. Of course, on top of the table, Anthony. We stick tap on top of the table. All right.
Yeah. Thanks, pal.
Kimmelman,
Thanks, guys.
What a guy. Great insight, as always. This is why you should tune into the press row show. Where else are you getting that kind of an insight on a pregame show?
Yeah.
Where else? Nowhere else.
You can leave just leave it. Just leave it. Yeah, Bundy will be here momentarily.
Will he?
Yeah,
will he,
it's 7 o'clock. He'll be here in a minute.
We got to get the predictions.
I'm going to get predictions in, right? So, All right, intern. Want to throw it to the intern for his prediction?
Yeah, let's get the intern on board. Here we go, intern Andrew.
I like the Flyers 3-2 tonight.
Wow. Yes. Wow.
That's a good one.
Ant, go ahead.
I'm with Andrew tonight. I think that the Flyers are going to win this game. I think I've liked the way Vladar has played in his 2 starts so far. I know you're excited for Darth Vladar in net.
Shout that's knowthegoalie.com coming soon.
Yeah, and I think that I think Minnesota, they saved their backup goalie for this game, and I think that the Flyers are going to take advantage of that because Minnesota's not a very good defensive team. I'm going to go Flyers 4-2 in this one.
Wow. So I'm a little bit torn. I'm going to be honest with you. Just looking at the Wild's games, they're 2-3 on the season. In all 3 games they've lost, the opposition has scored at least 5 goals, 5, 5, and 7. And even in their wins, they're not holding the opposition to a low goal score. So I think it's going to be tough, but I do see a path to a Flyers win tonight. I initially was going to go with the Wild because they've gotten curb stomped in back-to-back games. I think it's like 5-2 or 5-3 and then 5-1 in their last game. I think Darth Vladar, once again, provides some steadiness. I am not willing to say, though, that Minnesota giving up 5 or more goals in a loss is going to continue. I'll take the Flyers tonight, 4-2.
You matched my score for the second straight game.
That was just go ahead, Ann. Who do you got?
I already picked it. I already said Flyers 4-2.
All right. I'm gonna talk about it here a little bit. You have 2 pissed off hockey teams. They both coming off a loss. Kaprizov didn't score a point last night. They didn't record a point at all. Minnesota has given up 11 even strength goals against, and they've only scored 5-4. They're -6 on the year. The Wild. They have not been good at even strength hockey, but their power play is 47%. So, with that said, I'm going to go with the Flyers in a high-scoring game tonight.
Okay.
6-4.
Wow, that's a high score. That is a high
That's
score.
the kind of score that you usually go after me for, but Bundy brought a lot of facts and stats to the table.
Yeah, I never like predicting 6.
Yeah, I think. Well, remember last year they actually won 7-5.
It was a shootout last year when they played.
7-5. Yeah. Couturier, I think, had 5 points.
4 goals, right?
4 or 3 and 2, I think. Was it?
Was that his 4-goal game, Minnesota last year?
I don't remember.
He's checking.
He's looking.
He's checking
right now.
Yeah.
Just a note to everyone. Those of you who are new to the show, we do a season-long predictions competition. You can drop your prediction in the chat over on YouTube, on the Snow the Goalie YouTube channel, or we just put the tweet out over on the Snow the Goalie Twitter account. If you reply to that thread for tonight's game with your prediction, superfan Allison, who does a tremendous job with a massive spreadsheet all year, she tracks everybody's picks. And we track our own picks. And as we said at the end of the game the other night, it is a very close race right now. Anthony and intern Andrew are both undefeated on the season so far. Ant has a 1-point advantage because you get 2 points if you get the score in addition to the result. So, Bundy.
Couturier was 3 goals and 2 assists in that game.
Okay.
Bundy, tonight, you mentioned Kaprizov.
Yeah.
What do the Flyers have to do to try to limit him?
This to me tonight would be a matchup game for my defensemen. I'd play Sanheim and York against them, and I would be probably looking for Couturier's line or maybe Noah Cates, but I would have those 2 defensemen out against him. Listen, he's the guy. He's really, really good around the net. He's really good on the rush. You've got to cut out his speed and try to clamp down on him before he gets in the ability to make a play. But tonight, this is a classic defenseman against one-line matchup for me tonight.
Bundy, I want you to watch. We had a long conversation with Adam Kimmelman about Zeev Buium. Obviously, that was the defenseman Minnesota drafted right after the Flyers took Jet Lachenko. A lot of people wanted the Flyers to take Buium. As a former NHL defenseman, I want you to watch the game tonight and take extra notice of the way Buium plays, so we can give some analysis between periods.
He's -7 on the year.
Yeah, 3 of them were empty netters.
3 of them empty netters.
Yeah. Still, -4 is not great.
Right.
Right.
But from what I've heard from the Minnesota people, he's got a long way to go in his own zone, working 5-on-5.
Yeah. So that's what I would like, just your expert analysis on that as the game goes on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
cool.
Bundy has homework. Your homework is keep the stream up on your phone, on a tablet, on a computer, whatever. Watch the game, and you'll have the StatCast here. And then come back and join us for first and second intermission as well as postgame. Like the video, share the video, subscribe. We will talk to all of you first intermission here on the Press Row Show. Welcome into the Press Row Show, the number one rated pregame intermission postgame show this side of the Mississippi south of the Arctic Circle, north of the equator, and that's it. It's a 0-0 game after one. We'll say Flyers have outshot the Wild by a 2-1 margin, right? 6 shots to 3. I would say up until that power play to end the period, the shots were, I think, oddly similar to what they were the other night.
4-3
with Winnipeg,
power
right?
play, yeah.
The difference, of course, felt like Bundy on what night was that? Thursday night, right? Against Winnipeg.
Yep.
That felt like a slog of a first period to get through. You just couldn't get anything going. This game, despite the fact that there weren't many shots on goal, feels like a totally different game.
It does. It feels like there's it's been pretty well executed by both sides. Minnesota hasn't given up a lot either. About even on the shots if you take out the power play, but I think the Flyers can shoot the puck more, to be honest with you. I think they've missed some opportunities. I like Zegras at the end on the power play, ringing off those 2 shots. At least he directed them to the front of the net. But it's not enough shots just to have 4 and even strength. And Minnesota is not a good 5-on-5 team, and you can tell the way they're playing right now. You just got to make sure you stay out of the penalty box if you're the Flyers. You don't want to give them that 47% power play an opportunity.
Look, there's one thing that I take out of this period, Bundy, and that's I know it's kind of a boring period to watch, right? If you're sitting at home watching on TV, if you're actually here in the stands and you want action, there hasn't really been a lot. But the one thing I could give the Flyers some credit for is they really seem to be responsible.
Yes.
Like they're playing within themselves, within their structure, right?
Yep.
I mean, so like that, at least that's something that you can use as a foundation going forward.
They've done a really good job with the middle of the ice.
Yeah.
Like they've really, really taken away a lot of Minnesota's opportunities into the middle of the ice. And at the same time, the Flyers are trying to attack the middle of the ice, but they've done a great job. They play a box and one, really, which is in the defensive zone, which really is the box and one, that extra guy's there to eliminate a lot of the cross-seam passes and a lot of the plays to the middle of the ice in the D zone. So, and they've done a good job of that.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the one thing I take out of it. You know, it's a 60-minute game, right? And for the first 20 minutes, nothing really happened. So you got to look for things and say, all right, well, what was good? What can you take out of that? And that was something that I thought, look, Vladar only had the one save that he had to make. It was a good save, but he only had to make the one save. And Russ, you might have started something, my friend.
What did I start?
When it comes to Vladar. So you talked to Mike.
I did, the organist,
right? Bundy, get this.
Yeah.
So Russ suggested last game to Mike, the organist, that if Dan Vladar makes a big save, they should play the Imperial March like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Dum, 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 dum. He made the save.
And it was a good save, too.
It was a good save, and Mike played it.
Did he really?
He did it was a very low-key version. He goes,
yeah, it was slow.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, nice.
It was
nice.
slow, right? Yeah.
I said what needs to happen is, in a game that Ersson plays poorly and they have to pull him for Vladar, when Vladar comes in a game, then Ant said, well, what about starts that Vladar makes and he's leading the team onto the ice? It's the Imperial March. Listen, shop.snowthegoalie.com. We have, the design is done. We're modifying it a little bit, but it is an awesome, awesome shirt.
Yeah.
And I hope that it turns out better than the Iron Giant, because that was a great shirt. But Ivan Fedotov, it didn't work out the way we wanted. But Vladar, let's just have a moment here. Again, Minnesota only gets 3 shots on net the entire period. But Vladar is steady. You know, Bundy, I guess one of the things that was a point of emphasis early in the season is that the Flyers aren't going to try to block as many shots. They're going to allow more shots from the outside. The idea is that for a goalie, it's actually not a bad thing to constantly kind of be on your toes, feel like you're actually in the game. You're not going these long spurts without seeing a puck come through. Despite the fact that there's not a lot of shots coming his way, he's not having mental lapses.
Well, he's only had 3 shots, Russ. There's not a whole lot of mental lapses you're going to have with 3 shots in the first period. That's because the Flyers did a good job really hemming Minnesota to the outside. Minnesota's, I think, out of the 3 shots they had, one of them was a quality shot. The other 2 were through screens.
Yeah, they might be thrown off a little bit. I didn't notice. Did Eriksson Ek come back? I know he lost some teeth on that thing with Mishkov.
Eriksson Ek?
Yeah.
I don't know if he did. I'll have to check. I'll see.
I don't know if he,
they looked like they were picking teeth up off the ice.
Oh, he absolutely lost some chiclets there.
Yeah.
There's no question. Hey, Russ.
Yeah.
Buddy, you weren't here for this, so I'm going to let Russ look it up.
What?
But I got to get your opinion first. So Russ shows up today, and he's wearing a hoodie and a blazer over the hoodie.
Okay.
Is that a violation?
Yeah, that's not a look that you're used to seeing very often.
That you're used to seeing very often, but it is a thing that does exist in the world.
I've never seen it, but
It's been a thing.
So Russ
could you point out another example of that to us?
I can, yes.
But wait, Russ put a poll up to ask the people if it's an appropriate look or not. Russ, how'd that poll turn out?
58-42 is where I ended it. For a while, it was at 50-50. 58-42 saying not an acceptable thing, but 42% said it was.
So 58-42.
58% of the people.
In many people's minds, that's a landslide.
I bet you 80% of the 58% have no fashion sense.
Quite frankly, they wear extra large shirts, and they don't take showers. That's what we're thinking. That's what we're thinking. I'll find it, though.
That's
It is a thing. Like, I looked it up ahead of time. I was wearing what I was wearing today, and I said, do I really want to get changed?
What was Nancy's thought?
She at first was against it, and then I said, listen, it is a thing, and I'm actually going to pull up some examples here. Not that it matters. We'll go out to intern Andrew for the stat of the night. And when we come back, I will have a few examples that I can show you. I will also point out, this isn't like a regular hoodie that has, like a big design. There's not a big graphic design on it. It has a little bit of texture to it. It's a different kind of hoodie. Anyway, intern Andrew, stat of the night.
Yes.
How are we doing, fella?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Now, listen, this doesn't put pressure on you, but you did a sensational job the other night with the stat and with trivia.
And you know what? He did a sensational job pregame. You know what he did pregame?
What was that?
He was MacGyver pregame, Russ.
Oh, that is right. He did.
Nice.
You missed this. You missed this because you were on radio or getting ready for radio. So I come and sit down, and I noticed the table, my table, is like really rocking bad. And at first we thought maybe that's something wrong with the base. So went over, got a piece of foam to try and stick it underneath the base to try and make it stabilize.
I had that table the last 2 games,
and it didn't help. And we realized that the actual table itself was coming out of the base.
Oh, wow.
And we're like, oh, man, we got to go get another table. We can't use this. It's going to fall apart in the middle of the show. Until intern Andrew goes, why don't we try and screw it back in?
Yeah, that's what I would have thought.
And we screwed it back in, and it worked just fine.
How about that?
Brilliance. Brilliance out of
Remember the MacGyver song?
He doesn't even. I don't think he knows what MacGyver is.
I know what it is, but
do you know MacGruber from SNL?
That was one of my favorite
know him
shows.
from
I love
Wait a second.
MacGyver.
So MacGyver, you know the remake. You don't know the original.
I've never watched the show, but I know that he was known for fixing things with paper clips.
Doesn't fix it. You get out of it. You gotta get out of anywhere with a box of Bisquick and a paper,
right?
And a lynch with a little pin or something.
And MacGruber, I only know because Michael Scott dressed up as him in The Office, the one episode.
That's right.
By the way, intern Andrew, I have good news for you. Although you have the iPad over there, so you probably are aware.
Yeah, I'm watching.
Penn State, the James Franklin-less Penn State, up 7-3 right now over Iowa.
Go Nits.
Go get him, Nits.
That's right. I'm rooting for the Nits now.
By the way, James Franklin had a 9-minute appearance on College
and
Game
did you see
Day.
that he said he's going to coach again and he's going to win a championship?
Yeah, he said, we were going to
win.
He said, we were going to win a championship at Penn State. I guess we're going to go win it somewhere else.
Yeah.
They just gave him softball question and then Saban. It was so unfair.
Unfair.
12 years.
I saw that he was on, and I didn't have the heart to watch. I didn't have the stomach to watch
It's
it.
better that you didn't watch
No,
it.
What's he going to say that's going to make me feel better?
By the way, Andrew, your mom said that you get your smarts from her. Is that correct?
Sure.
Wow. He just threw his mom under the bus. All right, go ahead.
I said sure. I agreed.
Stat of the night.
So I mentioned Travis Sanheim the other night, saying that he was only 1 assist away from tying Joe Watson, and he ended up getting it.
Yeah.
So he's now tied with Joe Watson for 5th among Flyers defensemen in the all-time list. So if he gets another one, not only will he pass Watson, that'll actually put him in a tie for 4th with Tom Blayden. Blayden was only 1 ahead of Joe Watson. So if he actually gets a couple of assists, then he'll have sole possession of 4th on the Flyers all-time defenseman list. So something to look for there. And then on the Minnesota side, keep an eye on Matt Bundy. He's gotten at least 1 point in each of the Wild's first 5 games this year. If he gets another point tonight, he will become just the 5th player in Wild history to have recorded at least 1 point in each of the team's first 6 games of the season.
Interesting.
Intern Andrew, man.
Yeah.
He's bringing it.
I'll tell you what, this season,
Bring it.
I think he's trying to lose the intern tag. I think that's what this is.
Well, he'll never lose the instant. It's his Twitter handle now. He can't lose the tag.
I got him. I got him on that one.
That was smart.
Yeah.
It was.
Well played by you.
Forever intern,
Yeah.
All All right, so intern, I'm actually going to leave you on here for this.
Okay.
So Ant has been giving me grief, although there were people, I will say, Ant, and this isn't just me being me, but there were people who were noting that they wanted a recount on the poll from pregame about the hoodie with the jacket combo. So let's just take a look real quick, Bundy. Here's an example, light hoodie, dark jacket. Now, I get it. That guy's better looking than me. I get it.
Yeah, but he's got it's not a sport coat, Russ. That's a jacket.
Yeah, that's true. That's a jacket. That's like an outdoor jacket.
He's got shoulder pads. You can see the shoulder pads. No.
No, that's a jacket.
That's
Russ.
a jacket.
Dude.
That's absolutely a jacket.
That's a winter jacket, like a fall jacket.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
All right, whatever.
But here's the second. Here's this. Oh, I just got cut out. There we go.
How about this one?
Well,
that's a jacket.
And both of these guys.
Jacket.
Where are these photos from? I guarantee you they're in Europe.
They're from the internet.
I guarantee you every one of these photos is Europe.
From the internet. There you go. There's another one.
Yeah.
How about this guy? Pretty much my doppelganger. Let's be real.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yep. You got this guy. Maybe I'll get a neck tattoo.
Hey,
Don't judge me.
Anthony's right. Not one of those pictures is American.
Not
Canadian.
one
They're all
picture is
Europe.
North America. Not one.
This guy is absolutely American.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the toothpick. He's
there
so
you go.
cool.
Yeah.
He's like Scott Hall.
I would like
The
it on record
NWO.
that from my YouTube account, I voted yes for you. I did.
God
You know
bless.
why? Because this here is America, and you can do whatever you want.
There we go. America.
I got the bad headphones tonight.
No, I have the bad headphones. See, they have the tape on them. So now if your headphones don't work, that means we have two bad sets of headphones.
Two bad sets of headphones. Yeah.
It's a shame we're not partnered with the team or anything.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I said at the end of last year that we should have gotten new headphones.
Yeah,
We're gonna
let's
have
work on that.
But that's not my
intern
business.
is gonna forge the not forge. He's gonna put together the formal complaint.
He's going to go over to Max and be like, "Yo, Max.
Hey,
WTF, Max?"
hey, Max.
That is how I talk.
Hey, yo, hey, Max.
All right, good job, intern.
Thank you.
All right, gents. Bundy, I asked you.
Wait.
I asked
Did that girl who just walked by? Is she here in her pajamas?
where.
Yes, she is.
She's here in her pajamas.
Good for her.
She showed up at the hockey game in her pajamas.
Good for her. She wants to show up in stretchy pants. Let her show up in stretchy pants.
They weren't stretchy pants. They were pajamas.
Stretchy pants can be pajama pants. They can be stretchy pants.
Those
These
were
were
not
PJs.
stretchy pants. They were PJs.
Do they have like a rigid waistband?
When she walks back, you will see. She looked like she had
I'm
slippers
saying,
on,
if
too,
it
for
has
what
an
it was
elastic
worth.
waistband, they're considered stretchy pants. I'm not talking about leggings. If it has an elastic waistband, they're stretchy pants. She's allowed to do that. Whatever. Let her live her life.
Okay.
Maybe she's pregnant. You don't know. You don't know. Maybe she
Okay.
was day drinking and had too many lagers, and she's feeling bloated. Let her live her life.
We always have some interesting characters.
Maybe
up
she
here.
had too many Maybe she had Taco Bell before the game.
If I had to ask you, Russ, to rank the 5 most interesting characters that we've had.
Drunk guy I argued
here.
with after the game last year.
One.
The guy that reenlisted in the Navy this year.
That's a big one too.
The guy that fell over Mike last year twice.
That was the lady.
Yes.
The lady.
The lady.
The lady who
yes.
fell. And Mike and I were talking about that the other day. The lady, she knocked over the thing and almost broke the organ.
Yeah.
She's one. The guy who intern Andrew that kicked the light and
Yeah.
it almost killed intern Andrew. That's 4.
There was a woman 2 years ago that she brought her was her recce poster up looking for him because she wanted
That was
him to
that.
sign it.
Yes, that was right.
She was an interesting one.
Bundy said I could just cross out part of that 8 and make it a 6, and then I'll sign it for you.
You guys are forgetting the all-timer, though. Do you remember the birthday cake lady?
Oh, the Russian lady. The birthday. I would like 8 slices. 8 slices.
We
You
brought
give me-
Bundy's. They brought a birthday cake up for Bundy, and we offered it to the fans. And a woman came by and asked for 8 slices of the
Yes,
cake.
I remember
They
that.
would
Yeah.
like 8 slices of your cake.
What?
8 slices. Who the hell are they for? They've brought Russian army across ocean.
Oh, that was great.
I remember that. Yeah.
Anyway, so like I said, a lot of interesting characters up here on the balcony level.
Again, you never know who's going to make their way onto the press row show. We have no Navy reenlistments tonight.
We have the St. Bonaventure lacrosse
Pull
team
up
up here.
Lenda Joseph there. I'd like to throw one out to my son really quick. See it right there?
Oh, there you go.
Yes, today my son got in the first game at Villanova. The team had a big lead at halftime. He's a freshman right tackle, and he got in the whole second half. Really proud dad moment. And Villanova went on to win, I think, 56-14.
Stick taps
Good
for
win.
Junior.
Way to go, Junior. Proud of you, kid.
Good
job,
job,
kid.
Chris. Good job.
Game was on NBC Sports Philadelphia today.
That was
that?
awesome.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Very
Pretty
good
cool.
stuff. Bundy, as we prepare for the second period, the thing that I asked you at the end of pregame was, what do the Flyers have to do to limit Kirill Kaprizov?
Right now, they've done a good job.
They've done a good job. What would the advice be, I guess, in the locker room to continue that success against him in the second period?
Keep forcing them to play defense. He's not good in his own zone. He doesn't need to be good in his own zone. So the more time you have with the puck, the less time that Minnesota team does. But the paramount part of this one tonight, guys, making sure you stay disciplined. Flyers have to continue staying out of the penalty box. You do not want to wake Minnesota up via the power play.
Ant's homework for you pregame was to keep an eye on Steve Bouillon. I'm not going to put you on the spot about it now.
I watched him pretty close.
But I was going to say, let's get another period, and maybe during the second intermission, we could dive into his play thus far.
Yeah.
I guess the other big thing here is stay out of the penalty box and don't give this incredible power play. And it wouldn't say Ant 47%.
47%
on the season. Keep Bouillon and Kaprizov off the ice with the man advantage. That's probably a winning formula in the second.
I agree. And they've done a nice job. Last game, that was one of the things I liked about them against Winnipeg, is they didn't take penalties, right? After taking 15 penalties in the first 3 games, they took 1 against Winnipeg. Tonight, you only have the fight that Delorier was in with Foligno. Other than that, they haven't taken a penalty. So far, so good in that front. At least, a little bit more disciplined hockey, and that's something that you like to see.
Eric Sinek did end up coming back, by the way.
He did come back.
He did come back. Okay. He's a hockey player. He's tough. No teeth. Because they were picking teeth up off the ice.
Definitely lost some.
Yeah.
It looked like the beginning of Goon, for those who have watched it. It's a slow motion. The tooth is falling out. I think I hit him. Or I think I nailed him. Bundy, did you ever lose teeth on the ice?
I've never lost a tooth.
Wow.
You know why? Taller guys didn't lose teeth as often as guys that were like 6 foot.
Because you're above the fray?
Because the stick goes up that high. That's really high.
Okay.
When you get it up. But no, I've had a chipped tooth. I've never lost one. Close.
Do you remember how the chipped tooth happened?
Yeah, I got a stick.
So it was stick. Wasn't like a puck that got
No,
deflected
it was
and came
a
up.
stick. Yeah, hit me in the mouth, even with the mouthpiece in. Still
Yeah.
chipped it. Rick Tocchet played all those years in the 80s and the 90s, and he never lost a tooth until a playoff game. Got hit in the face, and the puck went in the net. I was playing with him. Until that point in his career, he'd never lost a tooth.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
right.
wild.
Wild, huh?
Good stuff.
Well, do us a favor. Make sure you don't lose the link to the episode. We'll be back during the second intermission and postgame here on the Snow the Goalie YouTube channel, on X, on Facebook. Do us a favor. Like the video, share the video, subscribe. And don't forget, podcast is also available over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, and Amazon Music. You could always mute the game and go back and listen to Wednesday's episode that we did live from Chicky's Pete's in, where were we?
Malvern.
Malvern. Next week, we are in
Warrington.
And the week after, we are in
Drexel Hill.
All right. We'll be back second intermission here on the Press Row Show. Talk to you soon. into the Press Row Show, the number one rated pregame intermission postgame show this side of the Mississippi South, the Arctic Circle, north of the equator. We are back. Second intermission. It is a 1-0 game. And guys, it's not the best game of hockey to watch tonight. It's still, I would still take, I guess, watching this over the game against the Jets, but not by a lot.
It's too much in the weeds. There's too much tactical stuff going on out there. Like the defending part is great and everything, but yeah, there was a flurry in the middle there where Minnesota had control of the puck down the Flyers' end for a good 7 or 8 minutes of play time. The Flyers just were not able to get it out. Now, in turn, the Flyers took some more shots later in that period, but for about the first, maybe 12, 14 minutes,
it was that long.
They did not have a shot on goal in that second period.
Yeah, they were defending the whole time, Bundy. And look, I give them credit. I thought the penalty kill did a nice job. I thought the defense, like in general, they were holding, right? You got it. And so to that end, they played well. You got to shoot the puck, man.
Yeah,
they're
not
shots on
shooting
goal,
the puck. Yep.
and they're not doing it. They didn't seem to wake up offensively until there was a shift. When you and I were talking about it, Travis Konechny had a shift where he was just hitting everybody.
Yep.
It just seemed like he was pissed off at the world and just started hitting everybody. And it kind of woke them up a little bit. And that's when they had 5 shots in the last 4 minutes of the game or the period. And I felt like that was it. Like that was their burst. They're going to have a power play to start the final period. But really, they got to get pucks on goal. I mean, 11 shots through 2 periods is not a lot. And this follows up a game when they only had 17.
Both teams have 11 shots.
Yeah. So they're playing good defense, but they're not generating anything in the offensive end.
I know that nobody cares about this stuff because it's year over year, but like if Konechny were to go without a goal in this game, that would make 15 consecutive regular season games going back to last year that he hasn't found the back of the net. I know that like last year, I kind of harped on that a bit, and I think a lot of times you kind of shot that down. But like Bundy, is there something that goes into a forward's mind that like the end of last year he went 10 consecutive games to end the season without a goal, and like we're almost through 5 games to start the year. You start trying to like overdo it. You start overthinking it or no?
I don't put anything in from last year that carries into this year. Nothing. No, that's you get a clean slate.
Especially with a new coach.
With a new coach, there's nothing that comes from last year. If you haven't scored in 10 games and now you haven't scored in 4, and you're possibly looking at your 5th game without a goal, it's not the end of the world. Obviously, they want him scoring goals, but it's not the end of the world. I mean, but he does have to start playing a better brand of hockey that's more conducive to the way he plays.
Yeah.
And he's got to get shots, and he's got to follow the puck. After the shot, go right to the net. That's where the goals are. And the Flyers are not getting enough pucks to the front of the net. They're not putting enough traffic there to make a difference.
Yeah, I honestly thought his last 2 to 3 shifts were his best shifts of the season.
Yeah.
Up until that point, Konechny's been pretty invisible. And, so maybe this kind of jump starts him a little bit. I don't know. But, yeah, overall, the offense has not been great at all. At all.
And so it's funny because we talked about, going back to last year, this year. I threw a poll up during the second period because I was monitoring the comments on the Snow the Goalie YouTube page. And a lot of people were saying they think last year's team is what was better with Torts than this team so far this year with Tocchet. Now, I think that's ridiculous, but the poll still remains. And right now, it's a 60-40 split. It was for a while 80-20. 60-40 split. 60% of respondents over on the poll on YouTube say last year's team with Torts would beat this year's team with Tocchet in a head-to-head hypothetical matchup. I know that this is all stuff. Hypotheticals aren't things that the entire panel likes to delve into a lot, but like I would say that this team is still, at least player by player, a better team than last year.
Didn't we in the pregame use the phrase prisoners of the moment?
Yeah.
Flyers fans who are voting for last year's team in that are prisoners of the moment.
That to me is like more of a nostalgia thing.
I will tell you,
what was nostalgic about it?
Just off here. I'll put it to bed right now. You give me the way Dan Vladar has played in his 3 starts versus any goalie that played last year for the Flyers, and the team with Dan Vladar will win.
If he's playing like he's playing now.
Playing the way he's played in the first 3 games, Dan Vladar beats any goalie from last year.
I would also say that Couturier has looked better this season than I think he did at any point last year.
I agree with that too.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then your best player, or in theory your best player,
being better probably matters a lot.
Anyway, you guys can let us know in the comments what you agree with, disagree with. You can go participate in the poll. But before we go out to the polls, before we go the Hillary Clinton route, you remember this? I wish Pokemon Go. I wish they could design Pokemon Go to the polls. Before we go out to the poll, before we go out to the comment section, first we have to go out to intern Andrew. There may be no kings, according to people at a protest today, but the one king of this crew, at least during the second intermission, is intern Andrew. Intern.
Yes.
You are here with trivia time. And guys, we have to serenade this man with some music as we bring him on. Are you ready?
Thank you. So I believe in the initial NHL expansion, the Flyers came into the league, as did the Minnesota North Stars. That's correct, right, Anthony?
That is correct.
Yes.
And they were there up until they left for Dallas in 1993.
Correct.
So there was a stretch of time that the state of hockey, as it were, was without a hockey team.
Yes, about 7 years,
So
8
the
years,
Wild
something
were
like that.
founded in
Yeah.
1997 and debuted in the 2000-2001 season.
Yeah, okay.
So the first home game in Minnesota Wild history was the Wild taking on the Chris Therien-led Philadelphia
Yeah,
Flyers.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
I think it was a tie game, wasn't it?
I'm going to say it was 1-1 or 2-2.
It was a tie. That was not the score though.
Okay.
3-3 tie.
Okay.
So I'll just put you through the gauntlet here. Wild coach,
Jacques Lemaire.
Yeah.
did a Minnesota Wild goaltender in that game.
Ooh, that's a tough one there. Nope.
Trying to think who they got in
Trying to
expansion.
think who they got.
Okay, I'll give you a hint. He kind of sounds like he should be a baseball player.
Well,
So it's got to be a guy, current baseball player.
Hispanic last name?
Yeah,
Hispanic last name.
Manny Fernandez.
that is correct.
Manny Fernandez, yeah.
The first ever draft pick by the Minnesota Wild. Third overall in 2000. Scored a goal in this game.
The Russian.
Not Russian.
Not Russian.
Slovakian.
Same thing.
Oh, man. Why
I
can't...
have some family that's Slovakian. I could say that. I think.
Was it Marion Gaborik?
It was.
Okay, that's the guy I was
Gaborik.
thinking of.
Yes.
Gaborik, yeah.
And then the last question. Bundy, do you know what kind of penalty you committed in this game?
But if he gets this right,
I don't remember it taking a penalty in the game, but I'm going to go with a cross check.
No.
Slash?
2 minutes for interference.
Interference.
Yeah.
What a weak call.
I agree. Couldn't agree more.
Jeez.
Interesting fact to go along with this, though. This game obviously was a sellout. The Wild ended up selling out every single home game up until October of 2010. They went 400 consecutive sellouts to begin that
that's a
franchise's
great
history.
arena.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great place.
It's
yeah.
a tremendous arena.
They just changed the name of it this year for the first time. It's not Excel Energy Center anymore. It's something to do with as a casino. I can't remember.
I was just out in Minnesota 3 weeks ago visiting my daughter and son-in-law, and they love hockey already out there, and they're just talking about how hockey's so prevalent in the state of Minnesota. It really is.
Yeah.
Grand Casino Arena, it's called now.
Yeah. It's a cool arena. It's a really cool arena. I like it.
Rick Tocchet, by the way, 2 assists in that game.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah,
And Gino Ojic had a fight.
that is correct.
He
Do you know
fought-
who he fought?
Big guy named Sutton.
See, there
He's got
is. There it is.
Andy
There
Sutton.
it is.
That's the
There's
great
that elephant
there
brain.
It is. There's the
That's
brain.
that's the Chris Therien
And
I
there's
know.
nothing here either. I'm not looking at it.
Well, who would know that other than you?
I remember that. Yeah. Yeah.
That is
Holy
correct. Yeah,
cow. Holy cow.
about 7 minutes into the game.
I love that.
That's great,
calls
Bundy.
him
Good
the
job.
Hockey Rain Man.
Hockey Rain Man. Oh man, that's good stuff. Good trivia today.
Great
That's
job,
good
Bundy.
stuff. Yeah, good job,
Intern,
Andrew.
nice job. By the way, we have been graced by the presence of someone in the comments. John Tortorella is in the comments.
Oh boy.
He says, Anthony, don't ask me any questions because I'm not answering them.
Yeah, I know.
So,
Not answering your questions.
Around for life.
That stuff follows people around for life.
Oh, David Katzman's asking you a good question, Bundy. Who are you rooting for tomorrow?
I absolutely am going full tilt with the Vikings tomorrow.
You have to.
I have to. I have no choice.
Yeah, unfortunately you have to.
My daughter said to me a few weeks ago, she's like, I'm going to be kind of torn with that. I'm like, no, you're not. You got one way to go, and that's it.
Yeah, your husband plays for the team. You have to root for that team.
I'm wearing my Viking shirt tomorrow. I have no choice. Everybody knows that.
I'm on Bundy's side.
My son-in-law is a starter with the Vikings. What am I supposed to do?
You root for your son-in-law to have a great game.
Absolutely.
And the Eagles to lay it. Let's smack it down on their Viking candy ass. What do you do?
Oh, that's great. Thanks, Mike. Mike Butts gets it. He says you got to call the family rule there. Absolutely.
Yeah,
no
absolutely.
choice. And what would you? You guys would do the same thing, Russ.
I would.
If his husband played in the NFL and he played for another team outside of Philly, come on.
Wouldn't be Pia's husband. I wouldn't give the blessing. No, I'm kidding. You're probably right. Fawcett, by the way, says he sends a super chat for the wardrobe, $1.99.
Which is about what it's worth.
I've been planning on. Now this jacket's nice. I've been thinking about going to Goodwill and buying some jackets. So I will take a portion of that $1.99. The goal is to buy ugly jackets that are $2 or less. That really is the sweet spot going forward. So, anyway, where else?
I would love somebody that would actually. Maybe I'll come up with the idea and do it, where someone just sells across the board $50 sport coats that wear well and then look good.
Very good. That was very good. Very good, Philip Albert.
No, funny. I agree. So this is a Joseph A. Bank jacket. I like Joseph A. Bank.
They're good.
Yeah.
The thing that bothers me though is when you go to clearance, right? I'm a small guy, right? But I have a little bit of a dad bod. Admittedly, it's a shame. Yeah. It sucks. Whatever.
It's all right.
Could I change my diet and go back to working out more consistently? Sure. You know what else I could do? Not. I choose not. But anytime you go there, it's like they have the right size, but then the sleeves are super long. So I don't know what to do. It's either get a jacket that you can't button and the sleeves are right, or get one where the body fits, but the sleeves are. Can't have it where the sleeves are down to here. You just can't do it. So it's going to be Goodwill. Goodwill or bust.
We need to check in on Bundy's homework.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Bundy.
Steve Buiam. Yeah, so he moves the puck really well. He skates very, very well. But you could tell sometimes I think the Flyers actually need to attack him a little bit more than they have in this hockey game. Like they really haven't made him make a really tough defensive play. But he's again good power play guy, good offensive instincts, and I think he's going to be a real good player in this league. He moves the puck very well. Does a good job. There's a super fan there, a concerned fan.
He looked a little bit concerned, but look at he's rocking the Couturier tonight.
Yeah, he is.
So is there something about Buiam that you guys had for me? Is that what you're looking for? Or?
And right now, if I get a fair read, and you can let me know, we've actually had some very nice nights here that we're being nice to each other. It's really great.
Yeah.
We're only 3 games into the season. But from my read, Ant seems to think that Buiam's real value is kind of as like a power play merchant. That's where a lot of the points are coming from. He's really good with the man advantage, but at even strength, he leaves a lot to be desired.
Yes, and I would agree with that. Now, do I think he will get better defensively? I do, because he's a good skater. So I think if he can really focus on being strong defensively, you're going to have yourself a good two-way defenseman down the road if he can get to that. Some guys never do.
Well, so when you think about an offensive defenseman, what is the one characteristic that guy has to have that really can't be taught that allows that guy to eventually become a good two-way defenseman? Still maybe leans a little bit more offensive, but ends up becoming like not a ghost, not like what Jamie Drysdale theoretically is, but still leans more heavily in the offensive end. Like what does that guy have to have?
Well, I think he's got a lot of the tools already that make a guy be a good player, like a good defenseman. His skating, his vision, his first pass has been very good tonight.
Yeah.
He's done a good job with his patience and poise on the power play. But he needs more repetitions of defensive work in his own zone. And I don't think that you can get that unless you're out playing every single night and learning and practice more and more, watching a lot of video, just being more adept at being good defensively, taking care of your own zone first before taking care of the other zone.
Physicality-wise, what do you see?
Not much. Not very physical at all.
Yeah.
Haven't noticed any kind of physicality. Hasn't gone out of his way for a big hit. Haven't really noticed him like rubbing a guy out hard into the boards. I'll keep a little bit more on him in the third period, but no, that's kind of the game. He's a skating defenseman.
And he well could be phenomenal. And he well could be, Who was that guy's name that played for Washington who was all offense and couldn't play defense worth a lick?
Mike Green.
Mike Green. Thank you.
What was the name of the guy that used to play in Montreal that played here for like half a season? Remember, he had like 2 or 3 power play points in his first game as a Flyer 2 years ago. What was that guy's name?
2 years ago?
Yeah, defenseman. He played in Montreal. He came here. I think he ended up going back to Montreal. What the heck was his name?
I don't know.
I'll find it. Somebody will know. Somebody has to know.
Yeah, I mean, so that's all. I mean, I think that my point is I think that Flyers fans are overreacting too soon. They may be right. They may ultimately be spot on.
Eric Gustafson. That's the guy.
Gustafson.
Yeah.
That was it. Thank you.
He's still playing somewhere, isn't he?
Yeah, Chicago?
Maybe Chicago, yeah.
Chicago? Is that where he's at?
Not to be confused with the other Eric Gustafson. There were 2.
And not to be confused with Bent Gustafson.
This is like a Tony Bruno segment now. Not Eric Gustafson.
Brian Murray's favorite player.
Which guy?
Bent Gustafson.
How would he say that? I told you the story about Luke Richardson. We had him on the radio.
What about who? Luke Richardson?
When I had Luke Richardson, I interviewed him as the Ottawa coach.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, can you do your best impersonation of Brian Murray saying sassy mice race across the ice?
Yes.
And he wasn't on, but we made it believe that he was on the air. And he goes, I can't do that. I can't do that.
I forgot about sassy mice.
Yeah. Sassy mice racing across the ice.
I forgot about that. That's awesome.
I'm still just caught up in the fact that no one else caught Bundy saying something about rubbing a guy off hard along the boards. He said it, and I thought Ant was going to break, and he didn't. I thought Inter was going to.
Yeah, because it's hockey terminology, so it doesn't faze me.
It's like putting a soft dump in the corner.
Metamucil. Hey, Bundy.
I mean, that's a legitimate hockey line.
Yes, it is. But now that I'm in Russ's headspace, this is what happens.
He just threw a nice soft dump in the corner.
I end up in Russ's headspace and I lose it, right?
Well, there's a lot of space in this head. Not a lot's going on up top. And it's a pretty big dome for a small guy. All right, anyway, we'll be back post-game where we'll analyze. Guys, do you think this is going to – do you think the Flyers get back in? Do you think this maybe goes to OT?
They're in it. They got a power play for 1:53 to start.
So, usually you say, what's the first 5 minutes? Really, a lot of it kind of comes down to
good power play. And even
if
you don't score on the power play, set it up so you're offensively going good 5-on-5 after it.
All right, we'll be back post-game here on the Press Row Show. Welcome into the Press Row Show, the number one rated pregame intermission postgame show this side of the Mississippi South, the Arctic Circle, north of the equator. Bundy, they don't ask how, they ask how many.
Yeah, they have 2 points for the Flyers, a big 2 points, a game that they trailed for most of until the third period. They tied the game up on a fluke goal by Owen Tippett, who had a great game tonight, by the way. I thought he was the best Flyer on the ice tonight. And then in overtime, Forster got the puck on a 3-on-2. Straight line 3-on-2. There was no gap between the forwards as they entered the zone, and then Cates took the middle of the ice and snapped one by, was it Wellstead? The goaltender for Minnesota tonight. It's not Gustafson, but anyway, Flyers win the game in overtime. Not the most exciting hockey game in the world, but you'll take the 2 points at the end of it, that's for sure.
You take the 2. It was a weird game. We talked about this in the first period. Not a lot of shots on net, but we said, hey, it's a little bit more open than the game against Winnipeg. Second period didn't exactly go the Flyers' way. And then in the third, it was, hey, you start with a power play. Let's see if they can score on it. Or you said, maybe build some momentum off it. And I don't know, the power play to start the third wasn't exactly going to inspire a ton of confidence. It wasn't great. But later on in the period, you say it. Owen Tippett was the guy, to go back to the old Laviism. He played with a lot of jam tonight.
He did.
And
he was the best Flyer on the ice tonight, one of the best players on the ice tonight.
Yes. And so on a night where you went into this game talking about Zeev Buium, you ultimately walk away from tonight not talking about Zeev Buium. You don't talk about the power play for Minnesota tonight.
3 power plays. They didn't connect on anything. In fact, I didn't even love their power play.
No, and they came in around 48% on the season. So it has been a very deadly power play. Flyers did a hell of a job. And listen, is this a cup contending team? No. The Flyers. Are they a cup contending team? No. Is there something to build on here? I would very much say yes. I've been on the record. I think that the Flyers, as currently constructed, could be a bubble playoff team, which is quite the improvement over last year when you're in the lottery. I want to talk about Vladar.
Yeah, Vladar was good.
Vladar made some big saves in big moments. Only allows 1 goal tonight. He's had a lot of success so far this season. Obviously, 2 games against the Panthers. We talked about this earlier in the week, but you got Seattle coming in on Monday.
Yeah.
They've been, Talkett's been going back and forth between Ersson and Vladar. Based on what you saw tonight, based on what you've seen so far through, what are we up to, 6 games? That's 6 games already? Wow.
I think you're going to see Vladar Monday. I think it's when he's going to turn the tables a little bit and start to go with a guy that gives him more of a winning hand, or certainly a guy that's been better thus far this season has been Vladar. There's been no doubt about it. So I think with that said, I think that you're going to see him Monday in the pipes again. I may be wrong, but that's what I would at least be thinking if I were Rick Tocchet.
I think so too. I mean, he really has. You don't want to overrate a guy, right? You don't want to take a very small sample size and say, like, this is going to be gospel for the rest of the year. But he's been a steady force, right, in that.
He has. He's been rock solid when they've needed him to be. He hasn't let in the soft goals. He's done a great job, and he's really, really, I think, gave that team a chance in the third period today. Made a big save in overtime.
Yep.
I think he got a piece of that. The pass that went across it looked like a mini 2-on-1 by Minnesota, and it was the guy either shot wide or Vladar got a piece of it. But nonetheless, he made some key saves in this game tonight.
And then he made like a sort of composed play that ultimately was like down in that end where he was kind of shielding a player away from the puck, getting it back. Like he was out of net for a bit, and it started to get a little bit chaotic, and you could see that going sideways. But Flyers get the puck back to go right down the ice,
Right down and scored right after that.
And Cates,
Yep. Cates played a good game tonight too. He was really resilient on the forecheck, diligent. Him and Bobby Brink, I thought that a very, very strong game as well tonight.
I guess the question now, Bundy, is when you look at this team through 6 games, they're now 2-2-1. Not bad. I mean, we looked at this schedule going into the season, and we said it is absolutely murderer's row to start the season. And yes, they have played more games at home than they have on the road. Right? Yes. No. How many games did they play on the road?
They played 3. 3, and the Flyers have played 2 on the road? Yeah, it's only 5 games.
Yeah,
I keep
thinking it was just the first 2.
I said 2-2-1. I can't do math.
Yeah,
I kept saying that was
right.
6. That's only 5.
Right. Minnesota's played 6
So they've played
games.
more games on home ice than they have on the road. But all things considered, given the opponents, given the level of opponents that they've had to start the season against, this has to be viewed widely as a very strong start to the season, does it not?
Good comeback win, because you don't see a lot of them. Usually a team has a 1-0 lead or a lead after the second period. They usually go on to finish the game most of the time.
Yeah.
Most of the time. And the Flyers were resilient. They provided with some pretty decent goaltending in the third when needed. There wasn't a lot of shots by Minnesota in the third. Flyers really clamped down, took away the middle of the ice. Minnesota did it a lot of times. They had opportunities, a couple of opportunities, but for the most part, I thought the Flyers really flustered them in what their attack plan was tonight.
Yep.
That was trying to get through the middle of the ice, and the Flyers did a good job of keeping the perimeter safe. It was really a good job.
When you look at the change in coaches from Torts a year ago to Tocchet this year, obviously you're going to have systems that are going to change. There are going to be tactics that are probably going to change between coaches. Does it look like the guys have kind of locked into what Tocchet's expecting of them so far?
I think defensively they have. I think there's still a lot more that's got to come offensively. There's not been enough shots yet. We haven't seen that 30-some shot effort, where you really 30, 35 shots on net where your team really peppered them. I think the Flyers have had trouble getting shots through as well, but they're giving the other team a hard time getting shots through. So kind of counters. They're playing a solid defensive game right now.
Now, I don't want to end this on a negative note, so we'll come back to some positive after, but we'd be remiss if we didn't note Matvei Michkov, I think, took his last shift of the game around the 12-minute mark in the third period and then did not touch the ice again. Now, last year, we were very critical, or at least I was very critical of Torts for benching Michkov in games. Tocchet has done this a few times now. What do you think is going into the decision in multiple games now that Michkov has not played through the end of the game?
I think a little bit has to come down to his conditioning. I was looking after he got sad. I was trying to see if there was something that Tocchet had seen. If he turned the puck over, if he made a fatal mistake that you can't make in the home stretch of the game.
Yep.
I didn't notice anything. If anybody saw something in the game, you can let us know on the comments. I didn't notice any kind of turnover or lapse in effort from his part. It may just be like Tocchet saying, like, other guys are skating. You had to put them out there. Like, you couldn't take Owen Tippett off the ice as the last few minutes came down. He was going every other shift. And then the take care, Mike. And then I lost my train of thought with Mike right there.
You're just saying that Michkov didn't commit. You couldn't tell Michkov committed
and
a cardinal sin or something.
The Cates line was really, really good down the stretch too. So you're going to play those guys that are going to give you a chance to win, and they ultimately did win the game for you. They did. Tippett tied the game, and the Cates line won it.
Yep. Let's see. So then you have this kind of thought over here from JR97. You can't score, but bench one of the players that gives you a chance to score. I like Michkov a lot. Very high in Michkov. Still think that Michkov is ultimately going to be probably your most talented player going forward. But he doesn't look like the guy that was on the ice and dominating in large stretches last year as a rookie.
Yeah, we haven't really seen that guy, and until he gets back into the kind of game that we were accustomed to seeing at times last year, Rick Tocchet's going to make that a difficult journey for him. He needs to play the guys that are playing, and he does that. Tocchet will play the guys that are giving it for him that night, and he can't worry about the intangibles. If one guy's not on his game, and you have time off days to work on that, but you can't do it during the game. You have to put your best players on the ice.
I guess the thing that people are going to worry about is it's a new coach, and Michkov in the aftermath of Torts getting fired said that he had good communication with Torts, despite what people might have thought. Michkov was asked the other day about the communication with Tocchet, and he said the communication is really good. So I don't want people to the worst thing that could happen is people then start to create a narrative, right? And I guess this is maybe the benefit of the Flyers not being a particularly great team in recent years. If this were the Eagles, right, we would be having a conversation about, is Jalen Hurts not talking to Nick Sirianni a big deal? 610-632. But we're not doing that. And I guess in part, people don't have as watchful of an eye on the Flyers right now. The worst thing that could happen is people start to create some kind of narrative around, Michkov's not playing well, and now he's getting benched, and is he going to want out? That's crazy.
No.
It's crazy. But
there's another level to his game that we haven't seen yet this year, and everybody knows it. And until he gets to that point, that's what they're going to demand of him. He's an important cog here. He really is. He's a big piece of this puzzle, and a big piece of the puzzle moving forward. So whether he had an injury that was lingering and he couldn't train, whether he's just flat out of shape, which it wouldn't be the first guy in the history of the league to show up in poor shape for training camp and take time into the season to get in shape, I don't know the case. There's been a lot of mixed messaging with that. Is it the injury? And then, no, he wasn't skating enough. So, there's been a little bit of weird mixed messaging coming from the top. But at the same time, he does need to be better because he's become that important to this team.
I also wonder if there's just something to be said for them still needing to figure out the right line combination for him to be on. I'm a little bit surprised that
this goes back to the preseason, but like there was a lot of time that he was playing with Zegras, and there was a good stretch there where it was Zegras, Gurbenkin, and Mishkov together, and it looked like a good line. We haven't seen much of it so far in the regular season. Obviously, Gurbenkin wasn't in the lineup tonight. I guess to those guys, Gurbenkin and Luchenko were left out of the lineup tonight. Obviously, they're trying to space out the Luchenko games, it seems, to keep him here as long as they can before probably sending him back to Guelph. Do you think Luchenko is back in the lineup on Monday? Do you think it's just going to be something where he's going to be held out? This combination of players worked.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what they want to do with him because he's so limited to the amount of games he plays. Unless they keep him and they play him, they just keep playing him. That's kind of a mystery still in terms of what you know what? I'm not sure they know yet what they want to do with him. But I'll tell you what, he's got to show more than he's shown in the games he's played so far.
I hope that
I'm not talking about scoring goals either or dangling guys. I'm talking about playing a responsible, solid hockey game.
Correct. I hope that Gurbenkin gets back in the lineup. He didn't have a great game against Winnipeg, but up until that point, and again, preseason, you don't put a lot of stock into it, but he really did bust his ass in the preseason. And when he's been in the lineup this season so far, very early, Gurbenkin has given them a lot of grit, has given them a lot of hustle, has been a guy that like you never have to question the motor of. I hope he ends up getting back in on Monday. We'll see. Maybe Taka just decides to roll with the same crew that won them the game tonight. We'll find out on Monday. Intern, was there anything that you wanted to get to here at the end of the game?
Yeah, I think that we have to mention Bundy came in pregame and mentioned that the Wild, not great 5-on-5, but they had the best power play in the league. Flyers penalty kill tonight was 3 for 3.
Yeah,
which was massive.
Penalty kill did a great job tonight. They really did.
The first one being right after Minnesota scored, Taka decides to challenge, gets it wrong, so they immediately go on the power play. There was a chance there the Wild could have gone up 2-0 in the blink of an eye. So the Flyers did a really, really good job on the penalty kill. That was huge. I think the 6 defensemen just as a whole today were very, very good. Blocking shots, getting in the passing lane, breaking up 2-on-1s. I didn't really see any egregious turnovers in the offensive zone. But the defensemen were really, really good tonight as a whole.
Yeah, I agree.
Bundy, there's a comment that you wanted to get to here?
Well, yeah, just ask me if I've seen any other young player or any young players go through a slump like this. Like a slump like who? Like, are you talking about Mishkov?
Probably about Mishkov.
Or Konechny? See a fridge.
I think he's talking about Mishkov.
You know what? A slump is going to take a lot more games than just 5. He's got a goal through 5 games. So if you were in a slump, it's when you haven't scored in 12 or 14 games where you start getting concerned. So I wouldn't call it a slump. I would call it a little bit of a bad start. A bad start, I think, is a good way to call it, because there's times he's made some good plays in the games, but there's times he's been very high risk, and high risk is not going to work with a Rick Tocchet hockey team.
I will just say, on a very limited scale, I'm a little bit concerned. Just a little bit, not a lot. Not burning the boats. I'm a little bit concerned with Konechny's start to the season. He has a few assists, hasn't scored a goal, and I know we talked about this during one of the intermissions. You don't kind of look back to last year, but he went the last 10 games last year without scoring a goal. He's now scoreless in 5 to start this season. He needs to put the puck in the net. A team that does not have a goal-scoring Travis Konechny does not have nearly the ceiling as one that does, with him scoring around 30 or whatever on the year.
Yeah.
This can't go into a 10-game stretch to start the season without a goal. They've got to figure out a way to unlock that. They have to put that into the mind of the opposition. Right now, it just kind of feels like, Couturier is a better scoring threat so far.
So far, he has been, and he has been. As
maybe not ideal.
TK just needs to do. TK is a guy that's got a good shot. He makes good plays. He plays with a lot of tenacity and fire when he's on his game. But for him to score goals, he's got to go into the middle of the ice in the high traffic areas. That's where his goals are. He's not a big guy. He's not going to dominate anybody physically, but he can certainly do a better job of getting into those highly contested areas where the goals are going to be scoring for a guy like that.
I think that might be a good spot to end.
Yeah.
Was there anything? I don't think there was anything else that we're like going crazy over today. I think that's the only thing I wanted to get to with people. Just for those who don't what. What's
Evan
so
Alvarez, intern Andrew, I just wanted to say that you're the GOAT. I appreciate that.
Oh, okay. Well, and on that, we're going to remove intern
Penn State win tonight?
Iowa just scored.
What's the score now?
They're up 25-24 with about 4 minutes left.
Who was they?
Iowa. Iowa's going to try a 2-point conversion
Penn
here.
State was up this whole time.
I know. You're forgetting the fact that they stink.
Yeah, but if they lose by 10, it's like a win.
I was saying to him though,
It's like a win.
I was saying though, if they beat Iowa, does he have to come on the show to admit that James Franklin was a bad coach?
I'll admit it now.
Well, you didn't before he got fired. You would, if he was still the coach, you'd still say he was a good coach.
That's true.
If he had kept winning games, then yeah, but he started losing. So
wow, fickle.
Soft. It's soft.
Okay, they didn't get the 2-point conversion.
So it's a 1-point game.
A field goal.
How much time is left?
3:54.
All right, we're not going to be here for the full 3:54. However, I do want to point out to people, 6 of the next 7 games that the Flyers play will be here at the Xfinity Mobile Arena. Again, we're going to see each other a lot over the next few weeks. Monday, they've got the Kraken. Next Thursday, they're on the road against the Senators.
Yep.
Next Saturday, it's a matinee, right? 12:30 game, home against the Islanders. The following Tuesday, they take on the Penguins at home. Then that Thursday, they're home against the Predators. And then Saturday, that Saturday, they're home against the Maple Leafs. And then that's Sunday. So they're going to go back-to-back at home. Maple Leafs, Flames. Vladar maybe against his former team.
Sure.
That is a lot. I mean, that's a lot of home games to start the season.
Sunday night games are tough.
That's why you got to have a really good start because you can make a lot of hay here early at home.
You can.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about this, the idea of, do you want those cupcake teams to start the year, or do you want to get tested early? And they've stood up to the test. I mean, on paper, this Flyers team, against the opponents they face so far, on paper, not as good as the opposition. And yet they're 2-1 through 5 games.
Yeah.
You got to give them credit for that. You have to.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a couple wins. I mean, lost to Winnipeg. Now, if you look at Florida now, Florida's now a 3-4 hockey team. They've lost 4 in a row in regulation on the road since going 3-0 at home.
Got shut out today.
Got shut out against Buffalo. So things aren't all sunshine for the Sunshine State team.
I will say, I think that people are so used to writing this team off. People are so used to wanting to see this team end up in the draft lottery, get the elite talent, which I've been on board with. I don't think that is this team this year. I really do truly believe that this is going to be a back end of the playoff team. Okay. I do.
All right.
And Darth Vladar, is he the prince who was promised? I don't know. But so far,
so good.
He's been great. All right. Probably a good place to wrap. Bundy, you can find him on Twitter at Therien6, intern Andrew at intern Andrew, Anthony, who's downstairs at SanFilippo. I'm on Twitter at JoyOnBroad. We will be back next week because how many?
Back in 48 hours.
We have
Monday, yeah.
Monday. Good God. Monday and Saturday. And then on Wednesday, we'll be at the Chickies and Pete's in Warminster for Snow the Goalie. So if you are trying to plan out next week.
It's Warrington, isn't it?
What did I say?
Warminster.
Isn't that the same thing? It's not the same thing.
I thought it was Warminster.
I think it is Warminster.
It is?
Is it Warrington?
I thought it was Warrington.
Oh,
now I don't know.
All right, fine.
We'll get that out to you.
I'll put it out. Now you have me. I thought it was Warminster. Are you sure?
I don't know.
You have no idea. Andrew just goes, there's a W. Anyway, we'll put it out on Twitter. But Monday, Press Row Show. Wednesday, Snow the Goalie Radio at 6 o'clock. So put that on your schedule. And then next Saturday, matinee, 12:30, here at the Xfinity Mobile Arena against the Islanders. We'll talk to you 3 times next week, and maybe even more. Maybe the Flyers will make a trade. No, they won't. It's too early. All right.
Night, everybody.
Have a great night, everybody. We will talk to each and every one of you very soon here on the Press Row Show. Goodbye.